Of course, nowadays, that's not that much of a binding thing. Because nowadays, it's not how much money you have that matters. It's how much money you can have access to that matters. I may have a line of credit with a bank. It's $2 billion. A line of credit means unless I use it, it's not a loan. But if I need it, I can go. I have a right to draw down on that loan up to $2 billion. But unfortunately, those are contingent stuff. They're not listed in financial statements, at least not in balance sheet. You will have them in notes to the financial statements, but if you simply look at balance sheet, you will have no idea. The company may have negative net working capital. For example, I mean, they went private now, but when they were public, we could see it. Dell Corporation, they're famous for having always negative net working capital. And part of the reason is the current liabilities, especially accounts payable, is very large. Here's roughly how Dell works. You decide that you want a certain Dell computer, okay? You give the order online. They immediately order all the parts necessary to put that computer together. They have, suppliers from 1,000 different countries, 1,000 different companies. They all ship them. It comes to somewhere in Texas. It gets assembled. It's shipped to you. As soon as it's shipped, they can record it as sales and revenue. But those suppliers typically don't get their money for up to 6 months. Dell basically says, you don't like it? Tough. I'll go buy it from somebody else. Since a lot of computers parts are commodities these days, what's the difference between motherboard? Whether it's made in Taiwan or Singapore, doesn't matter. It's the same motherboard. Then there's nothing specialized about them because they use a certain chip. It has to be an Intel chip because it's a Dell computer. You just build a motherboard and send it to them. That's it, done. So if you have a big customer like Dell, you basically are going to say, yes, sir. Walmart is like that. Especially on the international sourcing. I mean, they dictate the terms because there's such a huge volume. Nobody wants to lose Walmart. Back in 2001, there was a big devaluation in Turkey. I was doing consulting after the devaluation for one of the textile companies. They have, great bedding sets and stuff like that. And Walmart was one of their customers. And they have great quality stuff. And after, I don't remember the number now, let's say they were selling a set for $50 to Walmart. And Walmart sells it here for $100. After devaluation, they came and said, a lot of your costs are in Turkish lira. That means, in dollar terms, those costs have gone down because of the devaluation. So we want a discount. How about we get some of that benefit that you got? Give us $10 discount. Try saying no. You're going to lose the account. Why do you think Walmart is able to charge lower prices than other people? Because A, they used to have a much better logistics operation, and B, they can use their size as kind of a hammer on the suppliers. Because everything they buy is pretty much commodity. I mean, there is nothing specialized you're going to find in Walmart. Every once in a while, I see some stuff. For example, I like yogurt that's made with milk that has even the cream. You can only find it in Walmart. It's Cabot's. It's a New Hampshire company. It has 10% of milk fat, but that's specialized. But if you look at just regular Greek yogurt, by the way, Greek yogurt has nothing to do with grease. They just put a tag on it and it's stuck. It's a good marketing gig. My ancestors, I'm Turkish, my ancestors have been straining yogurt the last 5,000 years, okay? The word yogurt is Turkish, for God's sake. originated in Central Asia. Somebody accidentally discovered that they left the sheep's milk outside. It became yogurt because of the bacteria, and that became yogurt. No, no, Greek yogurt is basically strained yogurt. I mean, if you want to make your own Greek yogurt, buy just regular yogurt. Get some sort of, you can even use an old T-shirt, some sort of sheet, dump it on it, hang it up top, all the juice, which is called a whey, cheesecloth, all that whey is going to strain down. What's left is the Greek yogurt. But all my life, I've known my grandmother always did that. All my life I just knew that it's strained yogurt, not as Greek yogurt. That, in fact, it becomes much cheaper. Another thing you should worry about Greek yogurt, I make my own yogurt. Uh, just go look at Chobani's ingredients. Uh, no, no, I'm talking about just the plain one. The stuff with fruit flavors, there's a lot of sugar anyway. Just the plain Chobani Greek yogurt, they put aspartame in it. You know why? Because you take a regular yogurt, if you put aspartame, it's a thickening agent. Okay. They also put cornstarch. So when I strain the yogurt, depending upon the milk that's used, you're gonna lose anywhere from 35 to 50% of the weight. But here they keep the whey, but they add thickening agents. So they're basically charging you for whey that is thickened using chemicals. That's why, for example, Icelandic uh, yogurts are much more expensive. You go to ingredients of an Icelandic yogurt, they also have a different kind of culture, but ingredients are simple: milk and live cultures. That's it, done. That's how I make my yogurt. I go buy. I can only find it in Whole Foods now. I used to find it in Kroger. There's a brand called Icelandic Provisions. The Icelandic cultures are much milder. Typically, yogurt is tart, but those are milder cultures. And my trick is I take a regular milk, I put lactose enzymes in it. It turns into almost lactose free. Way back when I had a girlfriend who was lactose intolerant, she had never had yogurt in her life. That's how I started using lactose free milk, being the romantic guy. Then later I realized this changes the taste because lactose is tart, but those enzymes which we have normally in our gut, they convert them into glucose. Glucose is sweet. The people who are lactose intolerant don't have enough of those enzymes in their guts. Hmm? No, no, they don't. In any way, you have to pasteurize it to begin with. You can't make a yogurt unless you hit at least 120 degrees. By then, it's going to be pasteurized, even if you don't buy it pasteurized. But you don't want to buy unpasteurized milk, definitely. I mean, a lot of milk you would buy is ultra pasteurized anyway. Unfortunately, that means you can't make cheese with it. The only cheese you can make with those is pretty much ricotta, maybe. It's like curd cheese. The yogurt is different. Yeah, a lot different. A lot different. But now I found a place that sells Amish milk. It's only pasteurized and it has the cream on top. I use that to make yogurt. It's out of this world. But it costs me, uh, it costs pretty much on a per gallon basis, same as an organic milk, something like Horizon milk, for example. I would never spend that much money on milk, but this has the cream on top, so I spend it. So I love yogurt anyway, and you have to keep doing it because those Icelandic cultures I have are heirloom cultures. So I use portion of one batch in the next batch, and exactly, exactly. You know, these are bacteria. You feed them sugar, they reproduce. That's all it does. Huh? Pretty much, pretty much. And you know, bacteria can evolve very fast. Uh, let's actually stop here because I don't want to start income statement yet. Let's briefly talk about what that is. An income statement is a list of revenues and expenses that is given in a certain order. And we're going to talk about that next class. And that certain order, again, speaks to different uh, audiences or tells different stories. For example, revenues versus cost of goods sold. That basically says, are you making money before you have the fixed costs and taxes and other stuff? Then you have something called operating revenue or operating income. Are you making money before financial costs and stuff? So they all tell a different story. There's also a statement called statement of cash flows. We're not going to use it that much in this class, except you can find things like depreciation amount in there. You can find dividends paid, if any, that sort of stuff. And we'll get to it. So we'll leave it here for now. Next Monday, please come having read chapter 2. I'm going to randomly quiz you guys on definitions and stuff. All right? That's part of your contribution grade or participation, I'm sorry.